Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. Hey, Nix. Thanks for the hydrate. You're early? No, you're right on time. Welcome to episode 360, Digital Iliad. We are working on some FTL-like games. I'm unsure what I'm doing today. We had a holiday yesterday. Nice long weekend. It was great. Got to go spend the day with my partner. We hung out. Bopped around the town a bit. Came home, watched a movie. I took a nap. That was nice. Good stuff. Thrilling. So we're working on the ship layout for this ship. We worked on a staircase. I changed the angle. I had it so that you came up the back and spiraled up around and then came up at the front. We'll have to do multiple angles of this, but not right now. I can actually get rid of these. Yeah, this is what I ended up with. I redid it a couple times after the stream over the weekend. Pretty happy with this. I think the lighting is just about right. You've been cleaning up your desk for the past 2 hours? It's like 90 degrees Fahrenheit in your room. Ooh, that's horrible. Yeah, it's becoming summer everywhere. You're reordering everything for your new screen? Yeah, I heard you talking about your screen. Or I saw you talking about your screen. Talking about the G95 NC57. G95 NC57. 57-inch monitor, Jesus, from Samsung. It's on sale here. $5,200. This is crazy. It's a crazy monitor. 57-inch Odyssey Neo G9. This is crazy. This is so crazy. Oh, my dark reader is like absolutely destroying this website. Sounds fun. I don't get it. I don't understand these ultra-wide monitors. I don't understand why I would want one. It seems like buying one of these just guarantees you're going to have a bad UI experience trying to get any piece of software to run on this. But it's pretty fascinating from a technology standpoint. I guess if you're like big on Elite Dangerous or other like space games, this might be kind of cool. But yeah, I have a hard time believing that's going to work on any piece of software you try to run on it. It's two 4K screens next to each other. Yeah, see, I have the other version of that. I have the two 1440p screens on top of each other, and that's my monitor on the side. And then I have a regular 4K monitor. There's built-in UI to break it into different screens. Yeah, I imagine that's never gonna work for most programs. That's crazy. You like the staircase? Thanks. Hey, Sapphire. Is community really into space games? Yeah, no, not at all. But yeah, I think the ladder's okay. I don't know how I feel about this shadow I made. It felt weird not to have it. I don't really want to commit to doing it anywhere else, but I feel like right there is okay. There's a contrast problem, though. I darkened the floor. It's probably somewhat clear that I did that. I was going to brighten the ceiling since I did that. I have not since. I was going to do that, and then I forgot. This one? I don't like that. I think we're going to leave it like this. Hey, Nanigans, how's it going? But yeah, I think the staircase turned out okay. I tried a couple different versions of it. I tried versions with railings. You know, for OSHA reasons. I don't think it worked out. First thing you're gonna try out will be RimWorld. Jeez. Yeah, I think ultra-wide monitors for me are a lot like VR headsets and stuff, where it's like, I see the argument where for immersion's sake, it would be kind of cool. But I similarly feel that like for like ergonomics sake, it like almost doesn't make sense at all. But I'm excited to hear how that worked out. But yeah, I never want to have to support I never want to have to try to support like the UI on that kind of a ultra wide monitor. I don't think I'm ever going to do that. People are always like, oh, it doesn't work with my ultra wide. It's like, that was a choice. You recommend a super wide screen? Nope. Absolutely not. I like my 4K monitor for regular stuff, and I really like I don't remember what it is, but it's like what is this? The LG double stacked monitor. Two 1440p monitors stacked on top of each other. Well, monitor was the wrong word. Screen. LG Dual Up, is that what it's called? I like this one. Yeah, I think it's called the Dual Up. Oh my god, it's so hard to find anything. Here we go. I really like this monitor. I zoomed into that so much and it's just like I refuse. I really like this monitor. The two 1440p screens on top of each other. This is a great productivity monitor. I'd much rather have this on one side. Because then I can have 3 screens going, you know? You know what I'm saying? But to each their own. To each their own. Not trying to yuck anybody's yum or whatever. I don't get it. I don't get the use case. Wow, Sapphire Starship on a 120 stream streak. That's incredible. Thank you, Sapphire. And again, so you're mostly okay. You're doing okay. You're mostly working on tweaking lighting stuff and visualizing your shadows. Nice, nice, nice. I'm finishing my breakfast, so please don't mind me as I work on that a little bit here. Next, once you go super wide, you can't go back. Yeah. I have 3 monitors. Well, I have 2 monitors. One of them's the one I just showed, the Dual Up, and then I have a regular 4K, and that gives me 3 screens. The Dual Up is cool because it can actually mix input from 2 sources. So you can have 2 different computers hooked into the Dual Up, and it can show both of them on one screen. That's neat. That's a neat trick. Sapphire, you're technically streaming on YouTube right now? Oh. Got a replay of your Saturday live stream, so it's on YouTube in the right tab. Oh, interesting. Interesting choice. Yeah, I get it for gaming. I kind of get it for gaming. I do feel like most games probably don't support it very well, but most of the games I play, but I'm also not a big AAA. And if I'm watching a movie, I'm watching a movie on my TV. Usually. But yeah, that's cool. To get rid of the black bars, it is kind of stupid that TV formats and movie formats disagree so much. Yeah, that's neat. I like the dual input thing. The TVs seem to be getting pretty smart with that. The Dual Up has it. I've never used it. Well, I might have used it once or twice that way. I don't know what to do next. I almost didn't stream today because I was like, I don't know what to work on. I don't have an idea for what to do next with this. With this mock-up of the ship. I had an idea the other day that we probably want to have like thrusters. You probably want to have like directional thrusters sticking out of these corners or something, maybe. If I don't want to mess up this, if I'm willing to mess up the silhouette a little bit, have like an upward facing thruster here and like a downward facing thruster here. And then there's some kind of thruster unit in here that you could repair occasionally, have to repair. I could probably do the windows, or I could try to figure out some kind of airlock situation with the front of the ship. I guess we could try to sort out more details in the front of the ship. What's going on here? But yeah, I don't have any ideas. Oh, I missed a spot. Who is responsible for this? You are. Okay. By you, I mean me. Excuse me. Bit of a cough today. Let's just fix this. This is an easy thing to fix. You can have an 8K 240 hertz. Jesus, you need a 5090 to run it? That's so crazy. Yeah, I think this monitor, the monitor that I'm streaming on, is like 120 or 144 or something. I'm going to be super honest. I don't notice it. And I know you might be like, well, is it on? It is. And like, I can notice that my cursor is smoother. That's literally the only thing I notice when I turn the hertz up on this monitor, is I notice that my cursor movement is smoother. Maybe I'm entering my newfangled tech just isn't that exciting to me anymore era. You're getting old, Snake. Alright, that's better. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we could just carve a window in here. A flight control window. Something. I actually don't know what I'm going to do, because the whole flight control system I want to be up here. It's probably going to need... I'm probably going to need to change this thing going on. You know what we can do, actually, is we could connect this to the superstructure. Because right now it's only connected here at the base. So we could send out some little things to connect it on the sides. That would be a good idea. I do want to figure out what I'm going to do with these areas as like ad hoc living spaces. The vibe I want to go for is like, this is clearly not a ship that you're supposed to live on, but someone's doing it anyway. If I'm short with anyone today, I'm as awesome as my holiday yesterday was, somehow I woke up today in a bad mood. I think it was all the random stuff that came up at work that I dealt with this morning. Or I don't know, who knows? There's no way to know. Feeling unusually salty today. Yeah, let's do that. Let's just do some railing stuff. See, I have no ideas. I have no ideas about what to work on today. So the easiest thing to do would be to extend this back. The only real question is how far? Like all the way? Like here? Is that too far? Does that look right? That looks kind of wrong. Should it be shorter like this? Maybe? Maybe? It looks more correct. Still looks a little weird. And that's going to look extra weird if we do it over here is the real problem. If we do it over here, it's just going to look strange. Although maybe it'll be hidden by this, actually, and it'll be okay. Saved by the wall there a little bit. Oh, maybe not. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't do anything. Maybe we don't actually connect it to anything. Yeah, I'm sure it's fine to have a crazy ultra-wide monitor. I just don't get it. So like I said, not trying to yuck anybody's yum. It's just one of those things that I look at and I'm like, I don't understand it. Which is fine. I don't need to approve everything that happens. Or every, I don't need to approve every product on the market. But yeah, it's one of those things. I have the same reaction when I see VR. I'm like, huh. Nanigans, you don't find yourself caring above 60 hertz, really? Yeah. I've noticed it. I can notice it up to like the 120 or whatever. You like the shading on the stairs? Thanks, LSG. Yeah, I redid this like maybe 8 times while I was watching the end of the May Grand Sumo tournament, which my boy Wakataka Kage won. Not trying to pick on you, Nix, with your ultra-wide monitor and your love of ultra-wide monitors. It's very exciting. I know you said you've been looking at that monitor for years and you've just been waiting for it to get cheaper. But yeah, the interesting thing is consumer electronics don't get cheaper. They aren't really getting cheaper anymore. Like, I learned that when I built my 2 computers over Black Friday. I was like looking at all these prices and I was like, these are the same prices as they were last year. And the prices they were last year were basically identical to the prices they were the year before it. I know with computers we're dealing with like memory shortages and stuff, but like, it's weird. It's weird. We're starting to enter this very strange era in consumer electronics. Hey, Jacob. How's it going? It's going okay. I have no ideas today. So we're just staring at the staircase that I made yesterday and trying to think of what to do next. I thought maybe I could try to project through what the windows are going to look like. So I could probably figure that out from here. I could probably calculate where the window would come to here. I would like some big front windows. I also need to figure out some kind of airlock situation down here, which I'm not sure what to do about that either. Oh, we got somebody to ban. Loading the photon torpedoes. Targeting whatever. Anything. Targeting for maximum damage. Ready. Aim. Fire. Got a case of the Mondays? Oh, I know. You know it. You know it. It's the worst part about that is it's Tuesday, right? Pew, pew, pew. I do like banning. Nanigans, you've yet to try proper VR. You want to at least check it out at some point? Yeah, I don't know. My partner had to do that when she was in design school. There was a point where they were like making everyone do their design in VR, and it was so miserable. Ergonomically, it's such a bad interface, especially for your eyes, because your eyes have nothing. It's like way worse than looking at a regular screen. It's as bad as looking at a regular screen is. But yeah, I don't understand people who talk about the VR revolution, which admittedly has been, you know, on the verge of happening since the late 90s. I'm using the word verge very generously here. I've got this croissant that I heated up, and I'm like slathering it with a little bit of jam. Very nice. Very nice for me. But yeah, I don't know what to do today. I guess we'll work on the glass canopy as I try to figure out what we're going to do with this ship next. Because we're continuing my design style of just like figuring out the next detail that we can fill in and then filling in that detail. I don't know if I'm going to get all the equipment to fit on this grate either. I'm also considering extending this grate out so that it looks the same as this one. Not sure about that either. Because I think it'd be neat if you could like crawl under the engine and do work. So I might reset this to be like this one, instead of for it to be its own thing like this. Not sure. I might redo that today, actually, since I don't have any ideas. This would be an okay framing for a window. I could do a really crazy one where it like extends up and over or something, but I just want to cut out. How far is this anyway? This is 1, 2. It's short of. Okay, no, I can make this work actually. I need to get the right color. Yeah, we'll probably do a bunch of little things today because yeah, I have no thoughts. I'm without thought today. I don't know why. I don't have a good explanation. Okay, so that's how that would go. So this would look like this. Let me get the preview up so people can see what I'm doing. I don't even have my drawing tool out. It is fun to ban the bots. Yeah, you missed the spam bot. There will be another. There always is. They are legion. Okay, that would be acceptable. And then how far did I say this was? So this is like halfway into... That's maybe an issue. It's 1, 2, 3... 2.5. Okay, so this would be 1, 2. So here's the half right here. So this is 1. I said 2.5 or something like that. Yeah, 2.5. The half is first. So then it would be like, it would be in line with this. I guess we just do something that feels proportional is what we do. That's how we manage that, probably. Just do something proportional. It feels proportional. Sometimes the brain just doesn't show up to work. Yeah, that's the feeling today. How's everyone else doing? Everyone else have fun holiday weekend stuff they got up to? We did our good stuff. We went to Japantown. We found a little Korean market nearby that we'd never seen before. Got some food there that was very good. Still eating it. We watched Ponyo. We usually watch like some Studio Ghibli film. Hadn't seen Ponyo before, I think, actually. I liked it. It was good. Pretty creative take on the whole Little Mermaid thing. The best one we watched recently, though, was Pompoko. But that was a Takahata film. Takahata films are so hard to watch. They're so good. They're so heartbreaking. All right, what would be proportional for this? So this is 16 away. $14. 16. So we do a partial. That's what this is telling me here. So we would do a partial. Like that. That's okay. Okay. The only real question is, do we want it to go this low? I don't think so. That's 12. Whereas this is only 6. Yeah, it feels weird. We did this. Well, maybe we stick to it. Oh, wait. This is maybe in the wrong spot, this line. This line should be even lower. This line should be here. Oh, similarly, I totally flubbed this, I think. This isn't really how I would do this. I would normally do it like this. So I'd just create the same thing, though. Does that still start at here? Yeah, okay, no change. Okay, no change. And then for this one, that moves that line even lower. To there. Maybe that's okay. I think that's okay. Nanigans, you sometimes start to second guess if you're laying on too many shaders to pull off some of the effects you're trying to get. And then you go play some other modern games. You watch them precompile often over 10,000 shaders before the game even launches. Oh yeah, that's really brutal when that happens. It's quite funny, but it's also very brutal. tempted to do this here. Maybe here. So it would be the same. This would be 11. It's a little off. Maybe that would be okay, actually. So we're cutting a hole in here for the main glass, for the main viewport. Which, yeah, you know, shouldn't really be a thing that you can actually see, but where did I say this should go? To here? For the interior? Yeah. So this would be the interior line. I think I could live with this. I think I could live with this. LSG, you always have to remind yourself of that when you worry about creating a new variable just for readability. Oh yeah, Godot. I feel like I do that more in GDScript than in any other language because of how hard it is to get Godot to be easily read vertically or horizontally. Like to keep my horizontal line short, I end up declaring so many more variables than I would in like C# or any other language. It's funny. Yeah. AAA games are often like got all sorts of crazy stuff going on. I think this is okay. And so what I think I'm actually going to do then is cut that away. I'd cut this material away. Yeah. Did I say this was the outer or the inner line? I think I said this was the inner line, so I need to add an outer line. Oh, and in fact, you wouldn't actually be able to see the inner line most of the time, huh? You'd only see it on these parts. You wouldn't actually see it here. That's interesting. That's 15 wide. I think I went too far over with this. Where's this is? 16. Oh, yeah, I totally messed this up. What's going on here? Oopsies. Oh, but I don't like this. Yeah, this is what we got, I guess. Yeah, I have a lot of different little super minor quality of life beefs with GDScript. So you actually can't see this. I'm not gonna bother. I don't like how this turned out. I don't like how these lines lined up. The lines are not lining, chat. 14. This is 16. Yeah, we're going to move this in. We're going to move this line in. You know, I kind of wish I could get away. You know, get away is the wrong word. I wish I could create a game with a visual fidelity that I would find acceptable for me using 3D assets like the way I do for my game jams. I've really enjoyed doing that. It's like really nice and people like the look. That kind of 3D down-res kind of look. It'd be so much easier than me hand painting all my pixel stuff. It's just a totally different beast, you know, making a game jam out of K-Kit assets versus, you know, putting something on Steam. Ooh, I don't like this either, but I think we're gonna just live with it. These are misaligned a little bit. Probably do it like this. Well, hold on. I want to make sure that I'm retaining the correct line distance here. 17. That's wrong. Oh, you know what? This one we actually would be able to see the edge. Probably have a different color for the inline though. Yeah, I was thinking about that, I was thinking about that recently. Oh God, I hate this. I hate whatever's going on here. Yeah, that's no good. That's a little more okay. But yeah, whatever this is, not good. Can we fix that? Can we fix that? Sounds like you want to hire an artist. Literally never gonna do that. I've done that before. I've lived other lives, LSG, and I've hired artists. It's not that I hate artists. I'm like in a relationship with an artist, you know? I get it. I like artists. It has more to do with me than it has to do with them. If you hire an artist, your relationship to your work changes very quickly. As soon as you're starting to pay someone else to do stuff for your work, it changes everything. It changes your relationship to the work. It changes... It's a very serious decision to make. And it's, I think in most cases, probably the wrong decision for a solo dev, at least, in my opinion. Depending on why you're doing the work and, you know, what work you're doing and what your goals are. I could probably, using 3D assets, manipulate and mutilate and like downsample. Mutilate's not a good choice of word, but you know what I mean. I could probably render the underlying assets totally unrecognizable and make a pretty satisfying 3D thing. But yeah, self-funding solo development and hiring contractors is very risky. Okay, so this is horrible. What I've done here is horrible. I need to fix this. I'm going to fix it by erasing this. I'm going to need to come up with some kind of glass-like material render. We need to come up with something that looks convincing. Yeah, give it a try, Nanigans. You're not looking forward to the artwork? Hopefully streaming will help you get through it. Yeah, it depends. It depends. I would encourage people to try the kit bashing approach. Especially if you're just exploring a space, you know? Okay, okay, okay. We kind of fixed it. We kind of fixed it. I kind of don't absolutely hate this. No. Kind of fixed it. We do need to use probably this color for the inner line work. Or what we should do is actually just not draw that part at all, but do it. We're going to do it because I don't have like a glass stand-in kind of right now. So I don't actually know how I'm going to render this view. I should probably have a view of the cutaway with the door down. You know what? No one's ever going to almost ever going to see this view of the ship totally uncut away, but it might happen. So we'll need to have the pilot seats are around here. So we'll need a bunch of equipment that kind of extends past the edge of this. And that I need to figure out how I'm going to do that in a way that's convincing and looks right. Nanigans, a couple of your kids have been doing little games by making projects on Scratch. They've been interested in trying to do more time matching at Godot. Lean in and learn the language. Yeah, learn the language, because it's weird. It's definitely a weird language that you need to get some familiarity with, just because it phrases things weirdly. But it's good. GDScript is great. I do all my game jams in GDScript, and the worst thing that happens is sometimes I don't do a refactor because Godot makes it kind of annoying to refactor, but other than that, I have no complaints about GDScript, really. Beyond superficial quality of life stuff that I can easily work around in the vast majority of cases. Nanigans, about 80% of the aesthetic of your game is post-processing. LSG says you can get away with a lot using post-processing. Yeah. Yeah, characters is tough. Characters is tough, for sure. Nanigans, have you ever heard, or LSG, have you ever heard of Eskil Steenberg's Love? Let me open an image. This game. This you can kind of get a sense from just looking at this. This is just like bare bones geometry plus like a phone book's worth of like post-processing, and it looks good. And I don't remember when this game is from, but it's over a decade old at this point. It's a fascinating study in what you can do without traditional art skills. How old is this game? About 15 years? 2010? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Eskil Steenberg's Love is really interesting. Was that the name of the rendering engine too? Love? Fascinating. Yeah, it was made by one programmer, and they ended up with this really fascinating style. It's cool to see in motion. This picture doesn't totally do it justice. Yeah, I haven't pursued this approach because I have anxiety around reproducibility and like having more control over my assets, and I couldn't even do the basic 3D modeling for this stuff. Like, I could learn, probably. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, it's really nice. Yeah, I could never use Blender either, Nanigans. I could maybe struggle through Blockbench. I could maybe make something passable in Blockbench. So why is this so weird? There will need to be some kind of structure that sticks out from here. It'd be like... How thick would this structure be, though? This, maybe? Would it be 4? Would it be 1 whole block? Are these walls 1 block thick? I don't actually know the answer to that. 1, 2, 3... 4. It looks like they're just shy of being 1 block thick. I might treat them as such just to make my life easier. I guess I don't have to. It's not like anyone's telling me. It's not like anyone will know. So I don't. I could make it like I could just send it out to here. Have it be a little shorter. Even that would go up to here. Cut off up to here. What if I make it half a block? No, that doesn't work. Because of this. It needs to actually really go to here. Okay, so we need the equivalent of a windowsill here. It's going to be a rather thick windowsill, and it's going to cover up a lot of this. That's okay, because that actually hides some of the complexity that I was talking about. Some of the time. The rest of the time, it does not hide it. But yeah, I don't know. When you don't have any ideas like this, and you're kind of just reaching for something, you think about things like this. You think about things like, am I using the right aesthetic? Am I really prepared to hand draw all of this pixel art? Could I just do this in 3D? Is this even the right game? You know, all these thoughts that one has. I got some feedback that makes me question a lot of this. Okay, this looks fine. This looks fine. I guess it doesn't have to be... Oh, I did this wrong. I understand. I understand what I did. It didn't, shouldn't have gone from there. It should go from here. Well, that adds a similar question and confusion over how to do this. Can't do it like that. Should it be off? Should it be like at a slightly different... That's weird. Hey, Erica, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you hanging out with us on a very confused and meandering sort of day here. I kind of hate this as well, but it's fine. Nothing a bit of coffee can't fix. Sometimes it's hard to have faith in your direction when the game that you're working on is really vibes based. Like, it's not a neat incremental game. Like, it's not mechanically very strong, and that it doesn't have this like hook that's like immediately obvious as far as its engagement. But I don't know. I've been watching my partner play Tiny Bookshop a lot this weekend, and that's a very chill game. That's been nice to see. Oh, I did this very wrong again. So let's try to correct with this. Oh, interesting. Interesting. So this is actually an indicator of how far I have to go. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I did that. Oh, this could work. This could work. There are days when it's hard to pursue a game like this. It's just so vibes based, and it's not like I don't have this concrete prototype, this mechanical prototype with that has this that just demonstrates a strong mechanical hook or something like that. I don't have that. I don't have that to point to and be like, yeah, this is good. There's some days when that's not much of a concern, and there's some days when it really is. This looks wrong, the way I've done this. I'm trying to work out the windowsill for this. This is okay, but it looks weird the way that it combines here. I don't like that. Maybe I should be cutting in a little. Something like that. I think it would look even more wrong if I did something like this, though. Gotta do something. It can't just... I guess it can. It could be cut in such a way that you actually can't see the sill. I guess it could. I guess that's conceivable. We could just leave it like this. It might be better. Something like this. Alright, we're heading into ads. We're heading into ads soon here. Hold on to your ads. Yeah, I got some hard drawing ahead of me here where I got to just work out what's the engine look like? What do the controls look like? What are all these things? all these things look like. Wrong layer Dave strikes again. Rough. We're gonna try this again. I did this originally and I didn't like it, but I'll try it again. Yeah, there are days I wish I had a little scrappy mechanical prototype, and my only concern was really extending it and like providing support for it and like building around it. Some kind of loop. The lack of a loop makes you feel kind of directionless sometimes. A ship without a rudder. Yeah, that's okay. This is okay. I can live with this. A little weird what happens here. It really shouldn't happen here. That's maybe the only problem with this. Like technically where it should happen is happen here, but it should also be shifted over by 1, so it should be like this. But that I don't do that. I don't normally do that. Maybe there's a first time for everything, though. Let's try it. Let's try it. It kind of breaks a lot of our rules, but Might be such we don't even notice it really once we draw it. I think I'll notice it, but yeah. I don't know. Pretzel Rocks is kind of nice even when not streaming. While you're setting up your stream, you found yourself just vegging out with the music. That's funny. Yeah, the music's okay. I can only imagine how much variety the music has if you're not worried about YouTube. 'Cause there's a ton of music on Pretzel Rocks, but I can't listen to most of it. The segment of it that also works for YouTube is just much smaller. I'm just gonna leave it like this. I don't like having the big extended sill. We're just gonna say that it's cut in parallel. So there's no sill. The real challenging part is going to be making this interior here look interesting. LSG, you just tried eye drops for the first time? I think your eyes have been itchy for your whole life. Oh no. Yeah. I use eye drops. I have allergies. I have glasses. I've worn contacts in the past. My eyes get very dry, such that I even use eye drops at night. Like gel drops. It definitely makes a big difference. It can. Is that the cause of all the lost sleep? You know, it might be, huh? It might be. Or lost sleep games. I think I do want to change this so that it's like this, and the equipment kind of just hangs over this, so you can like crawl under it and like work on the engine or something. Instead of this, whatever's going on here, I think I'm going to replace this with like this. I don't know what else to do. Hey, Totem Play, what's good? Not much. We're just doing some art stuff today. Kind of a strong direction. What I want to do, so we're kind of just doing some little stuff. How are you doing? Got a tail to the eyeball. Oh geez, yeah, that would cause my eye to be itchy. True, that would definitely have that effect on me. What did I just do? Something like shenanigans, you'll see. When you get things polished and built out enough, you might release your voxel toolkit, including map and tile editors to the Godot asset store. Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Hey, Halkios Games, how's it going? Happy Tuesday. But yeah. I got some feedback the other day that makes me just question this work that I'm doing. It does feel like a case of the Mondays. Like some days I'm highly motivated and I feel very strongly about the design of what we're doing. And then some days I really don't. Some days, there are those days where you're like, is this any good? Is this going to be any good? Should we be doing something else? Is this going to work? So it comes in from there. Goes up. And there's 3. Oh, 3. Ah, I see. Okay. You don't think you would have all the pixelation stators and stuff in your toolkit? Yeah. Don't throw anything out on your grumpy days. Oh yeah, that's physically not possible to do thanks to version control, but yeah. That's an important thing to think of, that's an important thing to keep in mind for sure. I get this totally wrong. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, no. Yeah, that's an important thing to think about for sure. Definitely don't want to rush. I like what we're working on. Game dev is a lot of that. Game dev is a lot of operating on faith. Faith that the design will work out. Obviously, you know, you shouldn't go the whole way on faith. You should validate. You should experiment. You should validate. You should do all these different things. I should really get my drawing tablet out and not do this all by mouse hand. You're bad about that too, hence the 20 prototypes. Helkios, it happens. You should push through. Oh, yeah, for sure. That's a cycle that can happen a lot with prototypes too. Where as long as you initially you feel the magic of it, and and then as soon as you run into the tough stuff or the cursed problems or whatever, then that goes away, and then you're like just chasing that thrill of like the new project thrill. I don't usually do that. I don't have a lot of ideas as a designer, which I think is nice because it keeps me kind of focused. Like I don't have like a new idea every week of what I want to do. Just at a certain point, this kind of design is hard. Design where you don't really have any baseline just to feel out what you're doing. It's all speculative. But Death of a Whole Salesman made me more confident in how fun like a cargo management game could be. So I'm definitely interested in trying that out in the context of this game. Definitely interested in that. What's going on here? Time for you to head out. All right, take it easy, Sapphire. Nice, LSG. Yeah, I just talked to someone who was convinced that I should be doing something else. And it's someone who I respect, who has good ideas and knows what they're talking about. And then when you get feedback like that, it's important not to inherently accept it or deny it. It's important to just sit with it and think about it. The problem is doing that, the sitting and the thinking, when you combine it with like, a bit of a malaise. In case of the Mondays, as was said earlier, it's a potent draft. But it's fine. Later I'll just play Subnautica and not think about anything. Yeah, I kind of wish I had something that was more mechanics forward. They thought I should make a game, and they thought I should make a game like fast, like a really short game. My thing is, even if I made a really short game, like essentially something slightly longer than like one of my game jams or whatever, even if I made a really short game, I don't know how you sell a really short game like that. Like if you make a game and release it in like 6 months, how do you build up enough wish lists? How do you like get the word out there? How does anyone know what you're making? Why does this line not add up? What am I running into here with this line in my head? Is this just both of these are off by 1? Okay, that explains it. Whoa, where did I go? There we are. I just wish I had something more mechanically solid that I could look at. And on those days where I'm like, what do I even have here? I have something. Obviously, I could, have the same reaction where I could be like, this is bullshit. Like, there's no guarantee that sort of thing wouldn't happen in that case as well. But, what's happening here? Helkios, your issue is usually solving all the design problems that come when implement things and doubting what is most fun. Yeah. Yeah, it's tough. Nanigans, you've started up significantly fewer projects over the last year or so, and have actually been sticking with this one as your primary focus. You've still been making your custom content editor as well, but that's taken a backseat to the game. Yeah, that's good. LSG, plenty of people you respect have a ton have given you bad advice. Yeah. That's your issue to LSGs. You're supposed to market a game for 12 to 18 months, so that means the minimum dev time for a game you want to sell is 12 months. So why kneecap yourself by working on it throughout the whole... By not working on it throughout the... Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Short game is tough. I mean, the trick would be to make a short game quickly that markets really well. So, you know, you put out some shorts about it and you get like a bajillion views, and then you're fine. Then you can make it work being on like the lower end of like the 6 to 18 months that you're supposed to be on Steam with a live page before you sell it, before you sell your game. I don't think I agree with the lighting model I used here. I think this should be this one. I don't know. I mean, the thing for me is I don't even know what another game would look like. So I'm not seriously considering that because I don't have any ideas for one thing. But I think about workflows that would be much faster, like my game jam workflow of like kit bashing. I feel like you could make a pretty compelling game that a lot of people would not be able to tell was kit bashed. Or if they could tell it was kit bashed, they couldn't tell you specifically what kits were being bashed. But that's just trying to find, that's just like, you know, that's just doing the fun thing without doing the hard work, like Helkio said. There's always hard work to do, even if it's a little fun game. I don't know. We have our game jams. That was the other piece of advice I was given was stop doing game jams, and that's a hard one for me to swallow as well. I do think I need to make some lifestyle changes if I'm gonna finish my game, whatever game it is. If I'm gonna finish a game, I think I do need to make some lifestyle changes. Because the way this advice was initially framed was like, what do you need to be able to like finish a commercial game? And obviously the thing that I need is time, but I can't get time. You can't just go up and get more time. But yeah, they had good points. They had good points that I was doing the work, that, you know, I'm showcasing the performance of, or that I'm performing. I'm doing the performance. I'm achieving the performance of making the thing. Ooh, I'm gonna get this wrong. Let's be careful about this. That I need to focus. And they also had the interesting idea that this is maybe not the right game. That maybe my desire to make this game as like a small version of my big game is actually blinding me to what this game is. Like I'm only seeing it as like a stepping stone on the way to a bigger game, and that's distracting me from like what I should actually be doing, which would be something more purpose-built to be a small game that I could finish. That's like a commercial thing. I don't know. These are just thoughts that I'm trying to let sink in, because they were given to me by someone I respect who knows what they're talking about, and so I'm trying to give them the space to be fully, you know, absorbed and considered. I know a lot of times I shoot from the hip and I dismiss ideas out of hand, especially ideas from the chat. Yeah, geez, J-Cup. No, it's fine. I got good advice. I'm absorbing it and thinking about it. And I probably wouldn't have even brought it up, but I'm having a lot of malaise today about this project. Which is the kind of position where he had a good point. He had a good point of the time, of where the time is going. I do wish I had come up with like a jam game at some point that felt so strong that I could be like, yeah, we're gonna push this through to a release or whatever. But like, I would need to win a jam game or something like that. Like, I just don't have an idea for a small game like that. I don't have a game about. I don't have like a small incremental game or something in my head. I don't know what else I would work on other than this. But it's a good point. It's what you're searching for in jam games also. Yeah, I usually am not. I'm very, because people give me lots of feedback. When you do a game jam, I mean, you've won game jams. People always constantly, all the feedback you're going to get about a game jam are all of the things that you should do going forward to like make it a better game or a bigger game or a fuller game. And it's like, you hate the rhetoric of kit bashing being bad, LSG? I think it can be when not handled well, but yeah, I get what you mean. It's not inherently bad. But yeah, Jacob, we were talking earlier. I was talking about how I do really like my workflow for especially my solo dev jams. Like, I really like the workflow of kit bashing a bunch of 3D stuff together to create like an interesting kind of like down res art style. I really like doing that. Like, and I do like my pixel art, but I just think about how much time and effort I'm spending, doing pixel art rather than game development, or rather than game design, and like building the game. Like, there's so much, like, all we've been doing for weeks now, but possibly even months, is just like pixel art. Which, if anyone's keeping track, pixel art is not good for a stream. Programming does way better on streams. People are way more interested in watching me program than watch me do art. Which is interesting. It's not a problem. I don't mind. It's just interesting. But yeah, I do wish I had an idea that would be conducive to like a kit bashed 3D art style, and a quick turnaround time, and something that's just mechanically very pleasant. Like, I don't have a game about feeding a black hole in my brain right now, and I wish I did, honestly. I wish I did, just to get something done. Just to get something done and out there. Because I think even my most aggressive plans around Lofi Flyby is probably like another like couple years. And this is like a 2-year side project. It feels bad sometimes. It's in service of the bigger game, but I also think that that's part of it. That was another piece of feedback I got, which was that this idea that Lofi Flyby is an extension of and in service of this bigger game, that's like a fatal flaw. Because it's blinding me to what kind of game, to like what this game is, because I see it in this context. I don't know. But yeah, this is mostly just the malaise. Just a random malaise that I probably won't have tomorrow. But who knows? That's the thing about a malaise. You don't know when it's gonna... It's like the weather. You don't really know when it's gonna pass. You just wake up one day and you're like, I'm feeling very about this. Which is weird coming off of a holiday, but maybe that's what got me... Maybe that's what shook loose my mentality and got me into a position where I could think about this stuff. Because usually if you're so busy that you're just trying to keep up with the work, that actually doesn't usually create room to have these kinds of thoughts. You're too busy. Like, I never question my motivation during a game jam. I'm too busy. You think you see the sparks of it in some jam games that other people make and you're fascinated by it? Yeah. Something mechanical Something very simple and mechanical and pleasant. Like, I think that's part of why there's this whole big... everyone is making these games about simple, like, established card games and stuff. Like, people are making solitaire roguelikes, and people are making slot machine roguelikes, and people are making, you know, trick-taking roguelikes, and someone recently figured out that you could package these pretty simple, mechanical, compelling loops in these really little games, and they would do really well. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I had one of those in me. And who knows, maybe there's one not far away. But I'm so fixated on this FTL style stuff, which I'm also having a hard time with because, you know, we're on episode 360 of Digital Iliad, which the way I've written the title makes it sound like we're on episode 360 of making an FTL-like, which I guess that we are, because I don't iterate the numerical episodes when we do anything else. So, yeah, we are on episode 360 of making an FTL-like in Godot. And the project we're working on isn't an FTL-like, really. Like, Lofi Flyby isn't really an FTL-like. It's maybe an FTL Lite. But is it even one of those? I don't know. Just musing. Since there's no one here, and I'm not doing particularly great work today, it's fun to muse. It's fun to just talk about this stuff. I actually don't do any of this on my own. Like, I don't just sit and like have the... I mean, I think it would be a little weird if I did, but I don't really articulate a lot of these thoughts on my own. So it's kind of nice to have to fill time during a game, during a stream, because it kind of forces you to be like, what's my monologue doing right now? The monologue that I'm usually ignoring. Wow, that went by quick. Did we do it? Did I leave one too many? No. Is there one too many over here? No. Oh, well, that was easy. Oh, I need to do the banisters. Right. But yeah, there's no danger. I'm not gonna come out and be like, I've canceled Lofi Flyby. I'm just thinking. Because I do need some kind of commercial win eventually. I'm like staring down, you know, RTO and all this stuff with my day job, and I'm like, I've got a good thing going right now, but I'm concerned about a lot of different stuff too. About putting myself in a position where I can keep doing this work. It's tough. It's tough stuff. Tough stuff. Appreciate you hanging out with me while I'm kind of just dooming and glooming here. No, I'm not. But I know it can sound like that. All right. Okay. I like this. I think this was the correct thing to do, to widen out the back part of this, and then the engine can kind of hang over it. We can hide or get rid of parts of the whatever you want to call it, the railing. But yeah, I think I prefer this. Ain't it fun to muse? Yeah, if I did a 3D game, it really would be kit bashed. It would be a very conscious decision to just be super scrappy. Because I like doing pixel art, but I'm beginning to understand just how much of a time sink it is. Like, how many weeks have I been working on just this catwalk ladder detail, which is the only detailed part I've made for this ship so far, is this like catwalk thing. And I really like this. I really like this style. I think it's a cool style. Yeah, I'm not so obsessed with the incremental as incremental. I'm just interested in this really tight, simple gameplay loop that kind of blows up, which I guess that's what an incremental game is. Heavy talk from an influential person can shake it up too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. You're searching for the one, LSG. Yeah. It's important this part of game dev gets captured because literally everyone goes through it. True. Hey, the ant. Thanks for saying hi. Appreciate you stopping by. Take it easy. Yeah, it's really easy for me to do this on these streams when no one's here. Usually if it's a big stream and I'm getting rated and stuff, I try to stay very focused and do the work. But it's just nothing here but us chickens. I'm not calling anyone a chicken. That's like a reference to something I don't remember. Maybe from Chicken Run. My memory consists mostly of film quotes that I don't always remember the origin of. But yeah, I love doing this work. I love doing this pixel art stuff. I don't know how I could make a game with less content than this, insofar as like we're just building one ship. We're pretty much gonna have everything take place on one ship. But yeah, I'm just thinking of like how cool it would be to just get out of my own way. To let go a little of the control that I exert when I'm doing this game stuff, which is part of the reason why, you know, I do everything. I do the art, I do the sound, I do the coding, I do all of it. And a lot of it is about control. A lot of it is about quote unquote vision or whatever, but it's mostly about control. And game jams have kind of opened me up a little bit to the possibility of not fully being in control of all that stuff. Obviously, I'm still in control because I would pick what I would use and I would, you know, I'd be responsible for sourcing it and manipulating it and stuff. But like, I'm just wondering how I can get out of my own way and make games more quickly. Because that's my big problem. I'm not quick enough. And a way would be if I did this kind of Kit Bash 3D style when trying to make a quick game. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I'd ever find that during a jam, because the kind of game I'm trying to make during a jam is not the kind of game that I would want to commercialize. Like, the ideas are small. But would there be value in kind of doing like a Dave jam where I like try to think of something like that? I don't know. Try to think of something small and do like my own like I'm like mixing the thing I'm supposed to do with the thing I'm not supposed to do, which is more game jams. Which we're still doing game jams. I love game jams. We're gonna do another game jam, I think, in July. But I think we've got a game jam on the books in July. What's this guy on about? There's no real way to know. There's no real way to know. Yeah, I think it was LSG. I think it was. We've just got a case of the Mondays pheasant. We don't really have... I don't really know what the next step is with this design. So I'm just fiddling with stuff. I want to do some kind of like I want to do some little corner engines that like stick up and down. I want to do some like maneuvering thrusters here at these corners, because I think it would go a long way to kind of hide the complexity a little bit of what's going on here, is if I put some little corner engine stuff for maneuvering, and then we'll have the main big engine in the back. I think that'd be kind of neat, because I can't really fit anything under this ship, because the way I've designed this ship, it just really lies flat. Like you can see when the door is down. It really lies flat. Hey, Magoo. You're learning Godot? Hell yes. Hell yes. I'd love to see it. Yeah, Godot is great. The way Godot works is great. One of us, exactly. Alright, let me finish my last piece of the croissant here. This kind of somber, musing music plays, and we kind of just gaze at our own navels here. Think about game dev. Think about how do we make the next Balatro, you know? And how do we do it in only 6 months? That's not a real constraint. This is just one of those days where we question everything. We just think about stuff. This is too much jam. I'm putting too much jam on this croissant piece I'm about to eat. Oh, LSG, you did that? You did like a self-imposed game jam? That's where you had your idea for your current project? Yeah, it's an interesting idea. You sent me an image to give me an idea about those engines. Oh, I appreciate that. Using only some push pens and an eraser. Make yourself a little pig. Oh, that's very funny. The eraser with the push pens. Hey, that's not a bad idea. That's probably close to what we're going to end up doing. Yeah, I'm just on this kick of worrying that this game is just... There isn't enough mechanically here. And it's not present, so I can't... Or it's one of those things where it's like to get it to a point where I could try it out and test that is a lot. So I'm just going to keep being concerned about it. But yeah, I think some little thruster things that just kind of stick out and stick down or up would be really nice. Just some little triangle, just little thruster triangle things. Or even, maybe they even stick out in 2 directions. So like maybe they're even more articulated. Like it could be like, I don't even know what layer this is. This one. It'd be like something that's like a triangle. Yeah, I kind of just, this is one of those days where I wish I had something mechanical that I could just play and reassure myself that it's like fun and just work on that. I did like what we were doing with Death of a Whole Salesman. I feel like there's something there that could be pretty interesting too. But not really, probably. There probably really isn't anything there. Isn't really anything there, I should say. Oh, slightly off. Yeah, is there something we could do here? Oop. We probably want to protrude it so it would like instead of the flat line like back here, it would be more like where is the line here? Yeah, I wish I had an idea. I wish I had an idea for like an incremental game or something. I do wish that. That's the end of one. So does that mean... So where... That's that. But yeah, the idea that I'm exploring is this idea of, are you burnt out on art? Any sense to gray boxing something out for lo-fi? Not really. We've done like literally years of gray boxing tools and stuff. The idea of this art push for lo-fi is to get like a Steam page up. That's the purpose. That's the porpoise of it. So it could be like this. I don't think I'm particularly burnt out on art. I think I'm just having a low motivation day. I actually do have a lot of good ideas for the mechanical part about lo-fi based on feedback I got from Death of a Whole Salesman around like having there be more strategy around price, hitting certain prices, having strategy around a market where the prices go up or down like in a graph, and there's like and so the question is like, are the prices going to remain stable? Are they going to go up? Are they going to go down? What have I done here? Like, I think there's some interesting stuff there. So I'm thinking something like this, where you'll have like some thrust coming out that way, some thrust coming out that way. This doesn't really sell me on any. I think I did the structure of this a little wrong. I think I want some like jets coming out to the side or something. I think I'd want to see some jets, like some thrusts, some like thrusters, maybe like facing like this way or something. Not sure. Some kind of engine structure on this piece here. That's what I want. This doesn't really look like anything though. Maybe it doesn't need to be that complicated. The way this looks is, I actually think the way that this should shoot down, and then the bottom one would shoot up. So maybe this is the wrong direction. Maybe this is actually, maybe this one is actually the down rocket, not the up. For some reason, I thought it would be the up one. But maybe it actually makes more sense that this is the one that shoots in this direction. Or like maybe it would shoot out like this. I'm just riffing. I'm just riffing at this point. I don't have any ideas, really. Just gonna try some stuff out today. It's starting to look like something. Probably would have been better to do the side profile of one of these first. But I think that would have been really hard for me. Yeah, my partner's been playing a lot of Tiny Bookshop, which is really cute. And it's kind of almost optimal in my mind in terms of like how they're mixing, in terms of like the pacing and like how they do a lot of really interesting stuff in that game. I really like it. This doesn't really say anything other than, hey, I'm a triangle. Maybe you don't even see it. Maybe the thrust comes out from underneath and I do some like scorch mark thing. That could work. Maybe this triangle is too... Whoa. I don't know how far I went back there. About that far. Okay. Game is so aspirational. Yeah, perfect blend of story and mechanics. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. But the problem is that is such a hard game to like when you're at this part of it where you're just like building it out and there's nothing really happening. Like the mechanical loop of a game like Tiny Bookshop is bigger than like the inner loop of like the inner loop of Tiny Bookshop is like you make like book recommendations to people, which is great. But like the part of like selling the books over the course of the day, that's like a bigger loop. I don't know. Yeah, I think I needed to make that triangle assembly thing that I had here bigger. It was too small. I just wish I had more of a mechanical North Star I could look to. Not from like someone else's game. I don't know. Like I wish I didn't have to take this game on faith so much of the time. There's times when that's hard to do. It needs to be a different line so that it looks like it's actually like coming out. Another reason why I'm like, man, it would be cool if I was just doing something in 3D. You get so much for free in 3D. This is closer. This is closer. Do something like this. Let's ignore the fact that like nothing is aligned. Yeah, I think like a shrouded like thruster thing would be okay. I kind of did want it to be up, so I did kind of want something more like this, so that the thruster was like firing upwards or something like that. That's what I wanted. Having a hard time selling that. I have to look at more examples of how people do these kinds of thruster assemblages. I know. I know that I already got the turn your eraser into a pig. This is all the only reference image I should need. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to represent that. I don't think I'm making any progress on that. That's just something I want to do. I want to do some like directional. Do you know of any games like Lo-Fi you could play for inspiration to see the idea in action? Not really. Not really. Like, I don't... Here's the thing. Much like Tiny Bookshop, I don't doubt that Lofi Flyby would be cool. Would it make sense to make a blocked out mini version? See, that's the problem, Jacob. I don't know if you're talking about the thruster or you're just talking about the mechanical underpinnings of Lo-Fi Flyby. If you're talking about the thruster, that could work. If you're talking about the mechanical underpinnings of Lo-Fi Flyby, Lo-Fi Flyby is already a mini version of the main game. So it's like, I don't doubt that Lo-Fi Flyby would be fun. I don't doubt the viability of Lo-Fi Flyby. It's just so content heavy. It's so content heavy. It's so content heavy that I would need so much content before being able to figure it out. Yeah. No, it's a good question. That's the impulse that one should pursue. And it's like, you can already see it kind of in our roadmap, which is like, Lo-Fi Flyby is like a distraction from our bigger game. Problem is, even the side project is pretty big. And it's not that I don't think Lo-Fi Flyby will be fun. I think Lo-Fi Flyby would be fun. I guess I'm just annoyed at the amount of content I'm having to make for it. Which I like drawing. I enjoyed drawing this catwalk thing. I'm thinking about that feedback I got, and I'm thinking about if there's a way to get out of my way. If there's a way for me to get out of my own way by relinquishing certain responsibilities like art and do something that's more 3D that could be kit bashed. That would be something that would have a much higher mechanical density for the amount of content that needs to be made for it. Which is why we're, lamenting the fact that I don't know about any... I don't have any ideas for any incremental games or anything. Because it would be cool to have something that's more mechanically dense, that has a lower burden in terms of the art and other content. Because the thing is, this would be fun. I say would. This will be fun. Lo-Fi Flyby will be fun. I believe. I don't have a reason to think it's not going to be fun. But the amount of content that I need to make for a fun exchange in Lo-Fi Flyby is so high. It's a very content and story heavy game. Because, like, that was another good question that I got. Was like, what's the promise of Lo-Fi Flyby? which I had a hard time articulating at the time, but the promise of Lofi Flyby is almost like Firefly as like a game. Like it's really, the promise is like, it's a chill place with these interesting little characters, and they get up to strange little like sci-fi adventures that are very small. Where it's like, this week, we're transporting cattle. And so it's kind of funny to just watch the cattle rumble around in the cargo hold. And it's like, yeah, that's goofy and funny and interesting. And it's like, but man, I'd have to draw and animate cows. I'd have to like, I'm just having a moment of doubt. Which is fine. Moments of doubt are normal. I'm going to still, get up and work on this every day. No sense to running with Death of a Whole Salesman a bit more. Could you see that game ending up closely? I've already thought of a lot of lessons from that game. Because if you look at this game, the whole bottom part of this ship is a cargo hold. So there would be a lot of cargo management stuff in this game. Like, from a mechanical standpoint, I think I actually will take a lot of stuff from Death of a Whole Salesman. But that's just one thing that's in support of this larger game. Like, it's not enough of a mechanical hook on its own. Like, I think, like, the thing that I think of with this game is a lot like I think about like Sid Meier's Pirates a lot. I don't think I'm exactly going for a Sid Meier's Pirates thing, but it's what I think about a lot. About the joy of like flying your little ship from like port to port and like buying things and selling things and having these little scripted moments. And there are just days where I wish that this was more mechanically dense. That there was something, that there was more here played out mechanically and less in terms of like raw content production that's needed. Because that's just hard. That's just hard for a solo dev. And maybe I didn't appreciate that as much back when like this was my only piece of art for the game. I think it was easy to look at this and be like, oh, I made this. I could make a whole bunch more, right? It's like, yeah, you could. Did you think you were going to spend 2 weeks on like a catwalk? I don't know. Games take a long time. Games take a long time. There's no way around that. You're just thinking, you're wondering if you're looking for an incremental type of game you could build up Death of a Whole Salesman more if you think there's something there. Sprinkle in the content moments on top of a more mechanics-driven thing. Yeah, I think it would be very different. I think I would be compounding my errors if I just tried to be like, okay, now let's take an even smaller version of Lofi Flyby and make something. I think Lofi Flyby is good. I think the big FTL-like is really good. I think part of my problem is I keep trying to sunk cost fallacy my way out of like tossing work. Not tossing work, but like I keep trying to make everything connect together and everything to work together. I think it's more of a lateral shift since it'd be more mechanic rich, but yeah. Yeah, I just don't think I could make a version of this that isn't that. Like, this is a certain kind of game. And I think this could be a very compelling game. Like, I think there isn't a strong appetite for a game like Tiny Bookshop that is more like chill. It's more like this is a place that you kind of hang out. That kind of game I still want to make. I guess maybe I'm like fatigued about the content burden of doing my pixel art and everything. But I couldn't just do Lofi Flyby as like a Kit Bash 3D game. I don't think I could do that. I don't think that would work. I think part of this is its unique presentation and everything. I just wish I had a mechanically dense 3D game that I could make and put out in a very short period of time. Just to get going. Just to get a commercial game out. Just to start the process. Just to get the cycle going. I just wish I had that. I know this is like the most boring thing I could be doing on stream, but it's one of these days. I need to be able to grab hold of my next detail with this. With the drawing that we're working on, I need to figure out, because this is how I make progress, is I find one little detail that I'm like, that's correct. That's how this looks. And then you just draw the rest of the owl, right? You figure out one thing. You're like, this is what some key part is, and you've set that, and then you start to extrapolate. And like the problem is, I've reached the end of that for this part of the ship, this like second story, the soft story, like catwalk deal. I've kind of reached the end of the road for this one. And so I need to find some other new thing. And it's like, it could end up being like a big engine I slap on the back. Some easier things would probably be like floor and wall paneling would probably be good. We did knock up like a window, like the window cut in the front. I could figure out how the glass for that is going to look, because it's going to need to be this kind of semi-transparent thing. But yeah, this is just one of those days where I'm not really feeling it. And that's okay. It's okay to have one of those days. Like what people have said here, you don't make decisions, you know, at points of high or low emotion. You just kind of sit with it and think about it. And maybe it points to some real problem that I sense deep down with the implementation of this game. Beyond just the burden of production is so high to get anything done, which is part of the reason why Lofi Flyby exists, and is part of the reason why I'm just like, let's make one ship and let's not worry about the block editor. Let's just like build a ship by hand and figure it out. You spent all morning researching games to get learnt since we were dragging. Yeah, Jacob. I think that's good. I think that's good. But could we be making a 3D incremental? Could we be doing something else with our time? The answer is yes. But we'll see. We'll see how I feel tomorrow when we go live. I just feel a malaise today. And I appreciate you guys hanging out with me throughout that. I know this is like the least compelling the stream could be when we get into stuff like this. Hey, you made it, Arneo. You're sleeping off. Nice. Yeah, I hope you had a great holiday weekend. We're feeling very undirected today. We just need more jams. Yes, that's it. That's it. I do love a good jam. I do love a good jam. I like the idea of doing a mechanics jam and trying to like find something interesting. Yeah, maybe I am getting just tired of content production and I want to be iterating on mechanical stuff more. It's tough. It's tough with a little slice of life, like little, oh, I missed a banister here. It's weird. I think I accidentally erased it. Like, I don't doubt our little Lofi Flyby. I think I want to be doing something more concrete and mechanical. Which I don't think I will. Like, I don't think I'm going to switch gears all of a sudden into something different. I think I'm just having a moment where I'm having a hard time figuring out what the next direction is. This is wrong. Well, let's just keep correcting things and then we don't have to think about it. Is this wrong? What the fuck is going on here? Whoa. Okay, well, that's how I've decided to do this, so I'll do it. Like, I know it would be a mistake to come back tomorrow and be like, hey, chat, we're working on my backgammon roguelike game that I'm going to build in 6 months, and it's going to make me $1 million. I know that's not how this works. I know it is just hard work to build a fuck ton of content. It's just hard when you don't have a solid mechanical base. It's hard to be able to... You don't have anything to come back to in these moments where you really aren't believing in the project. There's nothing to come back to. That's a problem. Well, it's not a problem, but it's hard. It's a difficulty. It's a hard thing. It's a hard thing to do. To deal with. Hey, Void Blit. I feel like a classic roguelike would suit you if you like making systems. I know, that's what I want. I'm feeling this. We spent like weeks working on this like catwalk, and I did this staircase pretty quick. Like, I'm good at doing this. Like, I made this staircase. We did it on one stream, and then I did the rest. I like reworked it over the weekends a couple times. Like I like pixel art. I think I've gotten okay at it. Like, I enjoy doing it. I just feel like I'm getting in my own way from like a game production standpoint. Like, I'm putting too much burden on myself in terms of content creation. That was part of why we started having this kind of rant. Yeah, I agree with you, Void Blit. Nanigans, you know, you have a different mindset in how you approach things. One of the things you like about game dev is there's so many different aspects to it. When you get burnt out on a particular aspect, you can switch gears and work on a different part. Yeah, I wish that was an option I could do here. There's a problem with that. It's a good idea, Arneo and Nanigans. Nanigans, in all seriousness, a backgammon roguelike game where there's various power-ups and perks and the pieces do basic attacks on each other. Sounds interesting. Yeah, what about that bowling deck builder roguelike I was gonna make during the jam? No, the problem is there isn't a lot to Lofi Flyby mechanically. There isn't a lot to it. It happens slowly. Like, if most of what you're doing is like picking up cargo and then setting a destination, and it's mostly like a digital pet. Lofi Flyby is closer to a digital pet than it is to anything else, because it's like, this ship exists, it's a nice place to be, it's got great atmosphere, there's sounds, there's sights, you have a small crew of little AI duders that, I say AI in the sense that they're little non-controlled characters. They're little, you have like a pilot, you might have a mechanic or some other, you might have a couple characters. They do their little thing. You can see them climb into their hammock. You can see them, you know, play, maybe they play a little guitar in their hammock. Maybe they like, you know, just sit and like bounce a tennis ball against the wall. Like, there's a lot of moments in Lofi Flyby. It's like a vibes thing. It's like an ambience. It's like a place that you hang out. And like, that's so great. But it's so content heavy and it has no mechanical underpinnings to it. So it's like, I can't just switch and work on the mechanics of it because it wouldn't tell me anything. It's tough. It's tough. I believe in Lofi Flyby. That's not the problem I'm having. The problem I'm having is not a lack of belief in this game. It's a belief in my ability to produce this content quickly enough while staying sane. And that's fine. That's probably not a real problem. It's just there's just doubt floating around today. I just don't have a much of an idea of where to go at the moment with it. I've done NPC pathfinding, but yeah, it's tile-based pathfinding. We've done that a few times. The AI doors, yeah, there you go. No, the impulsive thing that I'm thinking about is I just want a simple, very mechanically dense thing that uses like kit bashed 3D assets. It could even use I might not even make any sound or music for it. It's something that would be like I just want to do something where the content burden is really low and the mechanical complexity is like high. Not high in the sense of like too complicated to work out, but like in terms of like the what's happening. Next cham is in 7 weeks. Yeah. No, but that's a different thing too. I see what you mean, LSG. I see what you mean about that. No, these are all very pointed thoughts in response to some feedback I got on some issues with my current workflow. And I do see the issue with my workflow, especially when it comes to creating content quickly, if at all. I really liked the warehouse goods from Death of a Whole Salesman Arneo. I did like that a lot. Void Blit, you don't feel like you focus too much on making sure every pixel is perfect. No, you're not wrong, Void Blit. We took a long time to get these right. And I think that's part of the burden. That's why I would love to do a thing where I don't have to do all the pixel art myself. Because the pixel art has to be perfect. Pixel art has to be perfect in general. It has to be pixel perfect because it's pixel art. Like, there's no choice. There's no such thing as like, I mean, I guess there is such a thing as shitty pixel art, but I think it's like one of those things where it's like, if that's what you choose for your challenge to be, it has to be that. And that's what I've chosen. And so I was just talking about earlier on, it would be nice to be working on a game where all of the burden of all of the different content types was not on me. Like, if I could just kit bash 3D, do a bunch of post-processing and like downsampling and like junk and like try to optimize away. It's one of those things where it's like the best optimization you can make is to not do something, right? The best optimization you can make is to just not do a thing. Like, and I was just like, man, it would be cool to work on something where I didn't have to create this huge body of pixel art and all this stuff. It's aspirational. This thought is a mix of frustration with my current workflow and like an aspiration to do something more simply. Like, I don't think I could change my pixel art to fit that. I think it would be like doing something else. But I appreciate the feedback, Voidblit. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Not wrong. Hey, Rhiannon, how's it going? Yeah, we're having a very directionless, kind of regretful stream. Like the main character in Undertale has uneven legs. Yeah, okay, point taken. Point taken. I don't think I could do that. I think that would be hard for me based on the way I do pixel art. If I'm going to do something janky, I'd rather do my like 3D workflow. My like kit bash 3D workflow. I really like it. It's really fun to do that. Maybe I am just burnt out on the pixel art. I don't know. But this is what we need to do. For Lofi Flyby, the primary task of Lofi Flyby is to finalize the art direction and create mock-ups of core things like the starter ship, the various menus, like the galaxy map, like the navigation and the trading menus, like the customization stuff and options for that. Like the challenge, the main challenge and work around Lofi Flyby right now is all that. That's all it is. It's all the art stuff. And I do like working on it. I do like working on it. You're supposed to be doing your itch page, Arneo. Nice. I get what I hear what you're saying, LSG and Nanigans, about getting the pixel art to the point where it's perfect and not worrying about it now. That's not the challenge that we currently have with Lofi Flyby. The main to do with Lofi Flyby is to make a Steam page. And the art on a Steam page needs to be good. It doesn't need to be final. It should be close to final. But yeah. But it's like, if you think about what does that free me up to do? So let's say I spend less time and do a shittier job on the pixel art for Lofi Flyby. That doesn't really free me up to do anything that I specifically need to do, which is like, you know, working out the mechanical aspect of, you know, the game loop of like flying the ship around, having the characters move between different task states. Are you going to use IRL star charts? I actually don't know about that. That's a good question. Maybe you could do some character art animation. Does Lofi Flyby use the tile drawing you were making? Tile drawing. The tool? Not exactly. It uses a similar block space, but part of the point with Lofi Flyby was to just do it on a canvas item basis and not try to build the whole thing up block by block, but to actually just make some finished pieces. The struggle that I'm having right now with Lofi Flyby is not a particular aspect of the content. Well, I said I'm having a hard time picking exactly the next piece of art I want to work on, which is whatever. I'll find a different one. Music? No. So the crux of the problem is different. The crux of the problem is this. Lofi Flyby is a content-heavy game. It's very content-heavy because, you know, you need to script events. You need to make not just characters, but a bunch of different versions of the characters because you need to be able to unlock things. You need to be able to customize things. It's just very content-heavy. And so doing a worse job on the content or doing different content doesn't really address that problem. Will Lofi Flyby have music? Lofi Flyby's music is probably the most important thing about Lofi Flyby. I would actually argue that the music is the most important content in the whole game, right? And we haven't done that at all yet. So the anxiety I have and kind of the malaise that I'm feeling, I think, is around just how much content there is to do. So I think skipping the content and getting the mechanics or whatever won't really solve the problem because that's not the problem. Lofi Flyby will always be a game that has a low amount of mechanical complexity and a high amount of content complexity. And that's just how the game is built. It's like built as like a Ropika's Idle Island, like kind of chill, kind of ambient space that you just exist in. And I love it. I think Lofi Flyby is awesome. And I want to make it. Having lo-fi in the name definitely makes music a highlight just because it's in the name. Exactly. Is the content graphics or like scripts? Both. You need a ton of graphics, but also if you want to have any kind of scripted events, like two characters interacting a certain way, or maybe the ship runs into some other ship and there's like a little scripted exchange. Like, it's just a super content heavy game. And so I just covet my neighbor's incremental game right now, just today. I covet this idea of this game that's very mechanically dense, in that there's a lot of mechanical complexity in a very small footprint. I just covet that right now. That's just what I wish. And that's just the grass is always greener thing, right? Like, I'm having to make a game that's super heavy on content and light on mechanics, and I would just like to be working on a game that's got a lot of mechanical value and doesn't require a huge content lift. Or if it does, it was like 3D, like I'm saying, and I could kit bash things and kind of Frankenstein together a visual identity without having to necessarily make all the content myself. That's the lament that I'm expressing today, as I kind of struggle with that. I'm not trying to dismiss people's ideas. I'm trying to like articulate exactly the malaise I find myself in. And I think that's what it is. I think that the content lift is so high, it's just dragging me down a little bit. It's just burnout from drawing a pixel grid for like a month. Starting to do a little bit of different things. I like pixel art. I don't think I have a problem, because like I don't know, you probably didn't catch the weekend stream or whatever, but like we're chilling on the pixel art. If I had to make like 150 pixel grid, you know, greats or whatever, maybe I'd start to run into flag on that. I think the problem is more fundamental than just like, oh, Dave doesn't feel like drawing pixel art today. I also don't, this isn't some like crisis that we're like trying to like talk our way out of. This is just like a discomfort. And also we talked about it earlier. I'm like processing some feedback I got from someone about my workflow and like the idea of making a commercial game and like how to approach doing that as a solo developer. As a contrast, on a different note, you like the contrast between the sweater and the t-shirt. Thank you, Arnio. You always gotta go light dark. Some kind of combination of light dark is always very tasteful. Everyone always likes my light mode sweatshirts. I only have like 2 of them, and this is the one that has a frog in little cowboy boots that is also very popular. We like this one a lot. But no, I'm just coveting my avoid your approach, play Fallout New Vegas for 3 hours straight instead. I'm coveting my neighbor's incremental game. I wish I had an idea that was for something that was very mechanically, I don't want to say complex, but something that has a high emergent play space. Excuse me, a high emergent play space for a fairly low mechanical, you know, something complex that springs out of simple interactions, and something that's more based around that systematic complexity, and something that's less based around content and just raw scope of content. Keep getting sauce on your light mode clothes. That is why I don't have a lot of light mode clothes. You are right, LSG. Jacob, the content heaviness is very relatable for Fabled Footy. You're also trying to find a small project that's less complex. Yeah. I don't want to describe it in terms of content complexity, but yeah, it's the scope, the scope of the amount of content that's involved in this game, as small as it is compared to my main FTL-like that we're trying to work on, which is why we used systems for the, I don't know why I'm in big mode. I guess it's just because we're talking, but a lot of the solutions that we were coming up with, like the auto tiler, stuff like that, that was built around this burden of having to create a large amount of content. And we took a step back from that to do Lofi Flyby, which has a lower content burden, but it's a little higher because it's all being handmade just to get it done, just to do the thing. And so yeah, I think I have a better idea in my head about the thing that's bothering me. which it really is. Just the sheer amount of content for something that, from a mechanical standpoint, is really simple. It's like Tiny Bookshop simple. And like Tiny Bookshop is beautiful. I really enjoyed watching my partner play that a lot this weekend. I really like that. I really want to make a game like that. And Lofi Flyby is a lot like that. It's just a struggle for a solo developer. So I just my lament is that I wish I had something that was mechanically very dense, that I could interact with and see that loop, and I could build off of it, and I could be more about that and less about having to make, you know, a fuck ton of pixel art and music, which again we haven't even started. You guess that's why there's so many card-based roguelites. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it is too sometimes. I'll go back to the regular screen share. I think it's weird. I feel weird being in my big just chilling scene. LSG. That's why you put crypt ID. I always have I like your crypt ID. Crypt ID. You had to put crypt ID on ice for a while. You would have had to write the equivalent of a small novel for a 90 to 120 minute game. Yeah. You had an epiphany that the more you can expand it mechanically, the less content you need, which has been super motivating. Goodbye, Big Dave. Yeah. I'm just going to hang out here. There's something we could do. That would be fun. I don't know. Would it be possible to pivot the game to require less content? It already is. Like, and I don't think so. I think Lofi Flyby is crafted very specifically to be that. It's like a vibe check for my little pixel art duder universe. My little pixel art FTL-like universe. And I don't think we can change that because the relationship of the content to the mechanics of Lofi Flyby is what it is. So if we reduce the amount of content, there's just nothing left in the game. Like, I think it would be a different game. Like, I would make a different game. And I would want to make something that didn't require all of this pixel art. Something that I could kit bash in 3D. Something I could do where I could iterate on the mechanics and find the fun a lot more quickly without having to have this huge content burden. I don't have a practical idea to follow this up with. It's just something I'm thinking about. I'm going to keep working on Lofi Flyby. Have you played Space Heaven? I haven't. I've heard people talking about it a lot. I think they got some points for me. I feel like they added the... Yeah, I've seen this game. This game is sick. It's like kind of what I'm doing, but like they already did it, and it's pretty good. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's more of like, I actually don't know how to describe it exactly. It's interesting. It's interesting. They got a lot of points for me because they put the Babylon 5 little starships in here. I don't know if they have a screenshot of it still, but they have the like, yeah, these. They put Star Furies in it, and that instant 10 out of 10 if you put a Star Fury in your game. That's so great. They barely changed it too. They were just like, yeah, here's the Babylon 5 Star Fury. Eat your heart out. So good. Love that. Yeah, it has both spaceship management and space stations. You could bash that art style in 3D? Yeah, I could. Yeah, I could. You'd have to be careful. If I did a kit bash 3D game, there would be no people. It would not have people in it. But yeah, this was cool. This is cool. This is a very cool game. I should play it. because it's trying to do a lot of the same kind of stuff that I want to do. In my head, I've said it's doing it in a different enough way that I'm not. Oh, did they actually just 1.0 it? Well, it's on a big sale. Yeah, I might buy this. Ends in a day. I'll play this. I've been waiting for it to come out of early access. It looks like it just did. Yeah, it just did 2 weeks ago. Sick. Good for them. Yeah, this is a little bit more build your own spaceship than what my game is supposed to be about. I'm not really going for the whole build your own spaceship thing. And I think that's maybe one of the big differentiators. Which is kind of ironic. I'm not really going for a build your own spaceship thing because I've built all these tools to make it possible, but that's more for me. Aramis made their chess survivor game. Could I make a simple? That would be the question that I would love to answer. Is like, could I make a simple game? Can I make a game that requires a low amount of content and has like a high systematic complexity? So the game is fun and it's engaging, but it's not like this big chillin' ambient atmospheric thing that requires like so much handmade content. Yeah, that's sick. How about the kit bash the environments and you do pixel art character sprites? There's a reason why we're doing this resolution and this scale and because again, I actually do like doing the pixel art. I actually didn't think I would. Back when I made this, I was not sure I was gonna like doing the pixel art. I like doing the pixel art. The issue is just how much time it takes. And it's one of those things where it's like, if I was full-time on this, like if I didn't have a day job, maybe I would push through it more easily. Drawing pixel art feels meditative. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's just how much time. Like, I don't have infinite time. And I talked about stuff that I got going on. Like, the company I work for is threatening like an RTO. It was supposed to be at the end of this year, but it's looking like it might be the beginning of next year. Like, I'm just looking at like where all my time is going and where it's costing me in terms of workflow. And Rhiannon, you need to play more games like what you're trying to make. Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous to do that. There's an amount that you want to do that, and then there's an amount that's like too much. Yeah. But I'm just wondering, like, is there something I could make? Is there something I could make more quickly that would be more mechanically interesting, that wouldn't require such a big content lift, that would be marketable, so I could put YouTube shorts out of it and stuff and like actually market it and pull in a wish list count that counted for something. We lived in Star Trek, pursue passions instead of working. Yeah, seriously, Void Blit. The shame is I don't have an idea. I don't have an idea of what to do differently except to just keep pushing along the content train that I've got going on now. And normally I just do it without complaining. I just push it along. It's just today is one of those days. I got a case of the Mondays, even though it's Tuesday. But I appreciate everyone kind of just hanging out with me as we just kind of talk it out and just kind of lament. These aren't even really thoughts. Like, I don't think I'd ever actually articulated to myself the like content issue that's at the heart of Lofi Flyby. I think I've just been working on it without thinking about it at all, and there was like this feeling. But it's cool. It's cool to think about it and then figure it out and actually be able to articulate it. You wish you had a suggestion to help me speed up the shipping? I don't know. I'm gonna think about it. I'm gonna like unfocus my eyes a little bit and try to do the work a little less blindly and try to think a little bit more about what to do. But yeah, our immediate goals remain the same, which is to complete enough of the art direction for Lofi Flyby that we can put up a Steam page. Because once that's done, we can go back to focusing on the mechanics and like gray boxing out some interactions and stuff. But for the moment, we have to stay the course. We have to stay the course. If I come back and I'm like, I came up with a new game prototype idea that we're going to work on, that would not be good. That might happen, but it would not be good. But it could happen. I actually have an idea just now, and I don't want to talk about it because I need to flesh it out in my mind, but don't do this. Don't just switch projects whenever your last project gets hard. I think I spent my whole 20s doing that. You've largely just been drawing with dirt over the last half hour. Nice. Love that. I have an idea that could be kind of fun. I need to think about it some more. I don't know. But I appreciate everyone hanging out with me. I appreciate everyone just chatting it out. Nobody being too prescriptive. It's not a it's a question of like what we can do. What do we have time to do? That's life, right? Time, as always, is of the essence. And this whole discussion started with me trying to figure out how I might be able to get out of my own way from like a workflow standpoint. I think that's a good way to think about it. It's your main issue right now, LSG. You're forcing yourself to stay the course. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like sunk cost fallacy is also a problem. So like just working on something because you've worked on it, putting more effort into something just because you've already put in so much effort, that's its own trap. There's some path somewhere in the middle where you don't just keep doing something because you were doing it, and you also don't just drop it as soon as it gets hard. There's some middle path that we have to walk, and finding that path is easy. Keeping to the path is hard for sure. Bernard survives. Yeah, you really do want your bare necessities too, huh, Arneo? I have an idea for bare necessities too. We'll see. We'll see if that ever happens. We'd have to get the right game jam theme. You have to get the right theme prompt. But I have an idea. It would need to be for like a solo dev jam or something. Somewhere where I'm allowed to use pre-existing assets. But there's something there. That'd be fun. LSG, if you didn't already have playtesters asking for more game, then you wouldn't feel as emboldened. People like the game. Yeah, I do want that. That's part of the reason why I wish I was doing something that was some more mechanically obvious. And I say obvious in the sense of like the mechanics. You could test the mechanics without having all the content worked out. But the thing is, a gray box like Big Chillin', ambient hangout desktop companion game isn't anything that you can get any real feedback on, really. We've drawn a certain, I believe each game has like a certain amount of essential complexity, but now I also see it has a certain amount of content to mechanical ratio. Bernard Bernard, an Odyssey version of Bernard. That'd be funny. Oh, a version of them holding the shield and spear. That would also be funny. Yeah, it's a seesaw. It's a seesaw. That's fine. You'd love to see a Bernard survival horror game? That's funny. Yeah, I've never thought about that relationship of the content to the mechanical complexity of the game. Those two different axes. Content being the stuff that you have to script and create and like develop, that's like the visuals or the writing or the audio, and that's distinct from the mechanical essence of it, which is the you know, the amount of stuff moving around under the hood for the mechanical part of the game to play out. And some games definitely are heavy on one and light on the other. Some games are like pretty even. I don't know what would be pretty even, but like I didn't really... I knew from Ropika's Idle Island that Lofi Flyby was high on content. I knew that that was going to be the case. Maybe I just didn't anticipate the amount of struggle I was going to have with that. Stardew is a good example. Stardew is very high on content. Stardew is like so it's so heavy on content and so light on complexity, like mechanical complexity. Smooth, you got a thought on the bonsai game? A way to grow it into a cool desktop companion game? Yeah, that would be neat. That'd be neat. The thing is, we need to solve a bunch of unsolved problems in the bonsai game, which is like, the bonsai does not grow and you cannot prune it. We would have had to have fixed those two things. We would have had to figure that out. Yeah. No, I ended up making the opposite of what I intended because I wasn't able to figure it out. It's part of the reason I don't revisit it. It's cool, though. It was a cool idea. It's a cool idea. Okay, well, I'm going to continue to stew over this, but I got to go to the store. So, the structure generation was fun. That part was fun. That part was fun. That was like a taste of like what could have been there. Could have been there. That's the other reason why I haven't just pushed a jam game to be like commercialized, is like I feel like they're different sizes. Like a commercial game is just has a different inherent size and scope to a commercial game. In some cases, obviously, some games have made the leap, but that's like a very advanced technique. But yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap it up. We'll come back tomorrow. We'll see if I'm in this philosophical state still, or if I'm just like back to grinding out the art. We'll have to see. I don't know what it's gonna be. I have nothing to do tonight, so I can just kind of spend tonight just thinking about stuff and deciding. Or I'll just play Subnautica and try to disconnect. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Yeah, sleep on it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, I really appreciate everyone hanging out here. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.